Very possible.
You keep it to the front?
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, this is a little thick.
I know it's hard to breathe.
Hey, let's see what happens. You too?
The black smoke, when he zooms up, you can really see it. Kind of hard to tell right now how fast it's moving because, so much black smoke, but when he zooms up, you can really see the velocity of that smoke, the thickness of that smoke.
Well, let's sell it throughout. From the class.
Where is the fire department?
Gotta be though. Your windows button.
Wow, stuff's starting to blow up.
That's on the front windows. Now you see it. Now you see the velocity out.
Get the hell out of here.
All right, so when smoke behaves like fire, a flashover is coming. This is a controlled burn. I don't remember what department, but. See this right here? The way it's moving, it looks just like a flame. The way it's behaving. We have some all over there. See how the difference in the color? Right there. Right before it actually blew out, you saw visible flame. That smoke behaved exactly like a fire does. All right, so it's a lot of truck noise you see. So, we handle this probably, stake to the fire this is, pretty white, gray smoke, coming up, nothing too bad. Nothing too bad. So what kind of report, somebody tell me what kind of report you give on this structure? We'll make up an address, so it's 100 Public Safety Way. What's the next step on that thing you have in front of you? How would you describe it though? It's two-story, you say split level, it's one story right here and it's two-story. Maybe it's something that's added on to. So, what's it made out of, you think? Probably wood. So, simple. What's that, what do you think, old or new?
Old.
So why?
Cause we got vinyl siding on the side of it.
Covering up probably that old building. Yeah. may look new from outside if you didn't know, but that vinyl side is covering that up, all right? Clean out that hydrant, yeah. All right. So, we think whatever, I don't know if this was built and this was added on or vice versa, I don't know. But it's right, it's in this room somewhere. All right, and it's already in this side of the overhead, it's in the attic space of this front room. All right, so incident conditions, we see smoke coming from that first level. How much, what percent of the structures involved at this point? 25 or, yeah, 25 or less, we don't, you know, probably, so we can handle that, that's, would you be calling for any other help at this point, or you think you got it? Say it's, say there's 2 engines there, so we think we're okay. Yeah, that's a good point, hydrant. So we offensive mode or defensive mode?
I know they're offensive.
Now, I don't know how much time has transpired between that first, cause it's cut and then went back to here.
A lot of smoke.
So what color we got there?
Brown.
It's kind of brownish, which means it's in those walls, it's in the, what's holding that building up. So that's a critical point to make. And again, your incident commander or your safety or whatever, what do you tell that guy?
Get off the road.
Because that's the thing about getting on a building like that, that velocity of smoke coming out of there, what are we doing? Yeah, I make a point in incident safety officer class. What are we doing and why are we doing it? Ask yourself that sometimes. If you're in this situation, you're incident commander, because it's an awkward position where you're just watching, you gotta be able to tell that guy to get off that roof. Yeah, it's already burning. It's being in here. They went inside here. There's a line, I think there's a line already in this right here. All right, now watch. See it? See how it looks? That little chain, it's just swirling around like fire is. See how black it is out there? I think we counted the seconds, it was maybe less than a minute, we got off, after we moved away from there. All right, he's finally safe. We'll go 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5,000.
He did. Wow.
How long did it take?
Under 10 seconds.
Yeah. And then now, that's lost anyway, buddy. Again, if it's burning here and it's burning there, all of this is burning. It's a fact, that's burning. So, all right, remember crews are in there, and in my opinion, being a split level kind of house like that, I don't know how it's constructed. It could be crazy. It could be the add-ons and, you know, just strange looking stuff in there. So if you're incident commander, I think there's 3 guys in there. You don't know how far they are. What are you telling them?
Evac.
Why though?
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't know if they're here. They're probably back in here. If they're here and then the fire's behind, it's cutting off their ether point. So, yeah. Kind of see the progress of the fire. Where's it going?
Got one question. By the video, I see they got water on the fire, but they never put water on top. I see water on the side of the building. Why, you know, you went inside, why not put something to suppress the top?
Right. Well, you want to be careful about that at this point. You know, with them inside. It flashed too, by the way. They were filming. It blew one of the guys down.
What the heck? Yeah, they got out of there for sure.
Yeah, in my opinion, for what they could do, they may can't, if you just stop, remember that 10-second thing, if you just stop before anybody ever went in and look around a little bit, okay, well, I'm gonna take 5 steps in here, we're gonna try to pull this ceiling, it's right here. Yeah, cause it ain't in this bigger part. It ain't in this bigger part yet. You know, when they first arrive on the scene. It's in the early stages of fire, is it take that 10 seconds do that walk around, do that 180, whatever, get that picture of what's going on, and then make those decisions. All right, so this, again, the whole reason you're really kind of watching out for that fire behavior and that bad stuff is flash over. That's the whole point. This is a pretty good video. I don't know what they have on this fire. It really doesn't look like that much. This is some pallets. I'm sure there's some kind of accelerant on the video. Remember, this video is 38 seconds long. 39 seconds long.
Holy crap.
Remember, that's what's happening inside, and we're just seeing a little bit of black smoke come out the outside. So you gotta question that too. Is it, when you're making that decision on this, you're making that offensive, defensive decision, okay? Is it something that's safe to go into? If we talk about fire behavior, that neutral plane, basically where the smoke meets the good stuff, that plane, is it here, is it here, or is it here? Is it too far down, is it too high? So we read the structure, we read the fire, the next thing is to read the victim. So attain a location of victims and bystanders. That's the best thing you can do, is say, okay, they think their family member is in this space right here. And if they are they in a livable space? Is the whole room involved? If you just have smoke? What is it? And are we available to make that rescue? Okay, so I made some different points in the lecture that I gave when I presented this to Dothan, but this is in California, and I don't remember the length of this video, but I call this fire attack ready, which means you pull the tow sign off, you've masked up, and you're ready to actually do something. 5 minutes and 8 seconds. Again, I'm not judging this department, but at the same time, I'm also judging this department. It seems like it takes a long time for everybody to get ready. They don't have a charged hose line. What should he be doing right now? Anybody, any ideas on what he should do? Waiting on his officer to make other decisions, talk on the radio. Break some water. Break some water. I think he does. They don't have much break. He have a pressure. So again, while you have time, and maybe somebody else is doing all the radio traffic, you can hit it with that slide to attack spraying water at the scene. All right, this is a really good video. This is this is kind of related to rescue mode. Anybody ever seen this one from Fort Walton? So I think it was from 2019. It was a good helmet cam video, but it kind of talks about that victim and that survivable space it may be in. So it kind of jumps back and forth between two helmet cams, but they're able to locate this victim in here. You can see the house is burning up. They bust out the window, actually have flame roll over in the room, and they pull the victim out. The That's like a big fire from here.
Doc, look out.
Confirmation inside, shot.
The windows are boarded up. The police officers actually had to bust out the boards on the windows and bust the windows. Then this kind of jumps back to the other guys.
Hey, crowbar, back door. Back door. We can't get the window out. Go inside, all the way back.
That's a survivable space. Fire's burning up. You have to kind of knock it down and then get it.
Here. Hey, Doc. Come on, Lane. Here's the light. Good partner. Where's the near camera?
You can actually see her hair. Okay, and from everything I've read, she was conscious in the ambulance. So thinking about that, the time, I use this as a point of time. A time about getting ready, getting to the scene, making your assignments, what is everybody doing? What's the priority, life safety being a priority? Okay, this is a good one. Okay. Let play a little bit. All right, so let's go down our list for our report. So we'll say the address again, 100 Public Safety Way. So it's a residential, commercial. Residential, what's it made out of?
Wood.
Is it a big house or small house?
Small house.
Small house, old or new?
Old.
Old house, okay. All right, so smoke, at this point, we're in smoke. The volume of smoke, is it a lot? Kind of hard to say, it's not a ton of smoke, but we actually have visible flame back here. What's that? Yes, yes, on the Bravo side, yeah. All right, so we can kind of tell where the fire is, it's gonna be right here. So the density of smoke's not that bad, the fire looks like it's at least in one room, to the ag. Color of the smoke's grayish, blackish smoke. What percent is involved at this point?
25 or less.
25, yeah, probably 25 or less. See the other side. So see how much a difference a 360 makes? If I come up from this side, it doesn't look that bad, does it? If I never walk to that other side, it doesn't look that bad. So, let's go to the next step. So, request assistance, you feel at this point you got it? For the people on scene, or do you need more help, or, you know, whatever? Water supply, do we need a water supply on this one? Yeah. Are we offensive or defensive? Offensive, I go offensive. All right, what attack line are we pulling? Inch 3/4, 2.5? What y'all think? Inch 3/4. Okay. And if you had, if you were the incident commander and you had, let's say, 5 people on scene, and you wanted to assign 3 of those people to be a crew, what would be the assignments for those people? What would you call them? Fire attack. What could the other people be? RIT team, and what else? That could be a safety officer. And would you search? Would you search too?
Well, you need to ask if there's any, or look and see if there's any cars in the driveway, ask any neighbors.
Right. Because all those things can go on at the same time. Okay. It's not independent of each other. Those things, if the fire attack, the search, they can all be happening at the same time. All right. So you can't tell because the audio stopped, but it's kind of a windy day. You can hear it. Pretty windy day. So, if it's burning on that side.
Switch to the defense.
Is it burning up here too?
Yeah.
Alright, so you're the incident commander and you have people in there, are you gonna keep them in there? What are they gonna do?
Pull them out.
Okay. Remember, we don't have some of the neatest videos to watch are ones where the fire department hasn't got there yet. You can kind of watch it from the beginning, and then watch what they do and how they do it. The wind's kind of whipping, that wind ain't helping them out too much. So it's important, like I said, if you pull in from this way, the fire truck's gonna come in from that way. But you pull in from this way, and you see that white smoke, and you never walk around to the other side. It makes a huge difference of what you're gonna do, decisions you're gonna make, especially as an incident commander. Okay, anybody pay attention when the first shot, where the weather gate is? Everybody see that? Right. So be aware of that. You see what that guy with the red helmet's carrying? Why are they doing that?
It's windy enough.
I don't know this guy, but my guess is he was told to do that at every fire, and the last fire he got in trouble for not doing it.
Yeah.
My God, I'm bringing that fan this time. That's what I think it was, because obviously at this point, we don't need a fan. But I think he's just stuck in either this is the way we do things, or I'm not gonna get in trouble this time.
It blew up.
Houses pretty close together. So we still have a flat hose line. And we see, remember, we had a flash in the front room now. So we're only a couple minutes in, it's went from 1 to now we're up here. In this room.
I had to put the grass out first.
All right, so also, all right, we pulled the inch 3/4 line, is that right?
Yeah.
One or two at this point?
One,
One. All right, how many you think we need to pull?
Two.
Let's go with two. You're not gonna pull 2.5 or whatever. Let's go with two, because guess what? These guys back here in the back are not gonna be able to handle it.
you don't say.
Yeah, he's making sure all that grass is out.
Second tack line going to the front.
Yeah, that wind's really hurting.
Maybe if they put the fan in the front door, it'd help.
But think about it, I don't know, you can't really hear the radio traffic even when I played it. I don't know what the first engine told everybody else to do, but just that prompt by that first engine, hey, whoever's coming next, y'all pull another line, or y'all catch me a hydrant, or y'all kind of prompting those things, at this point, even from the 2 minutes that passed by, only 3 minutes and 31 seconds in, but the 2 minutes that passed by before they got there, it got a little worse. Mine was not on their side at this point, so having, hey, engine, whatever, or Rehoboth, or Ashford, or whoever, as soon as you get on scene, pull another line, kind of directing those assignments ahead of time, instead of being a little reactive. Alright, so another thing about gear, this guy's putting on the mask, so these people over here, they're wearing the gear, just their gear or their air pack?
Yeah, air pack. Yeah, they got
I
it.
mean,
It's on.
okay, so a better question is, what do you think they should be wearing? Everything?
Everything.
Alright, so the point I'm making is, if you're the incident commander, or you're deemed a safety officer, whoever it is, if they're not doing it, it's somebody's job to say something. That's what we do in Dothan, there's people literally watching for things like that, hey, make sure they put their mask on. I don't know how many times, he forgot his hood, whatever, you know, there's things that happen like that, but reminding those little safety issues if you get somebody hurt, maybe not killed, but he could get hurt if he didn't have his gear on correctly. So point those things out and correct them. So it's safe to say that one line ain't gonna do it, right? Fix the fan now, don't you get that thing right?
Well, maybe he was trying to blow the grass out.
Yeah, at this point, if I'm the guy over here on the other side of the house, if I'm that crew over here, I would say, hey, other captain, can you please help me? Can you help me do something? Please. He's probably deemed a safety officer, that's why he's walking around, but at this point, it's a defensive fire, so hey. All right, we finally got another line over there.
They had to go across town and do it.
He getting in trouble now. So I think better have power line.
Oh, they went the weatherhead.
They're trapped. It'll take very long for less than 5 minutes in. It'll take very long. So just, what I'm saying is be aware of where it is in the beginning. Most people don't look at it until it burns in two. Just be aware, okay, it's right here, you know, I need to stay away from it. All right, so what percent are we on now?
100.
Okay. So in 5 minutes and 10 seconds, we went from something that we could go into to something that we can't. 5 minutes. Very big difference. So again, if I know, you can tell it's a windy day. If I know that, maybe I don't send that crew in. Maybe I change my mind.
Another one. Third time's charm. If you don't get the fan wet.
Watch this guy right here, though. This is a good representation of a fog screen, too. This guy, basically that whole front of the house is burning. You can use that steam to your advantage. If you're not in there, put it on the fog screen, let that steam put it out.
They're still all over the big, the power.
It didn't go totally out, but it was a pretty good knockdown on this front side. that one guy. There's some good videos too of like apartment complexes, 2 stories on the outside burning, and one guy with a fire extinguisher just does that for about a minute. Knock that, not out, but it's knocked out. Alright, so that's kind of as much of the points I wanna make. So everybody kind of see that as you pull up, you're just confirming where it is. Alright, we got the right place. Or it could be, they have dispatched you some 2 streets over and you arrive on scene and say, okay, well, this is really where it's at. We describe the incident, we describe the house, what it looks like, how old it is, all that kind of stuff. We describe what kind of conditions we had. We decided whether we needed help or not. We have a plan together on what we're gonna do, and then we're command. So remember, command means you're in charge. Now, it can be passed on to other people, and that's fine if you wanna do that, but be in charge and make some decisions. Alright, so this is another one, I'm gonna play the audio on this one. This is an interesting video because one of the it's actually from the battalion chief's vehicle, so you get to hear the radio track, and what they say.
Engine 3, fire control.
Engine 3, go ahead.
Single story, residential structure, emergency fire, fire.
You hear that? Hear what he said? He was so used to saying nothing visible, he almost said it, and it was burning up. It's a habit. He was just used to saying nothing visible, nothing. He said nothing, oh, we got plans visible. So don't get in that habit, just pause a second, think about it, think about what you're gonna say. He almost, maybe
Fire
he's
control,
prepared to do it
fire
for a
control,
long time.
notice not evacuated, engine 3, heat tax.
Engine 3 on the scene. Working fire.
They're wearing lines.
Battalion 1 Fire Patrol on the scene, all up wells at command. Make a working fire, I need the power company, all units, I've got power lines down on the front of the building.
So say that immediately. If you see them down, say it. Say what kind of structure you have, it's on fire. Another term we use in Dothan, I didn't include it in this, but because it was more to what we say working fire, which just means generally everybody's gonna work. When you get there, you're gonna do something. You're gonna work. This is a good shot. Alright. So let's go through the list again. We confirm the address, 452 Willie Barnum Road, residential or commercial? What's this one made out of? Wood. Big or small?
Smaller.
Smaller house, old or new? Old. Okay, so at this point, we ain't really worried, about smoke or what it looks like, because we have fire involvement. So what percent are we talking about?
Looks like about half.
Okay. So is it probably closer between 25 and 50 or closer to 50? Okay. So at this point, we gotta ask ourselves, do we have enough help coming? The answer is, remember, we sometimes have to do that in Dothan, clarify who's coming, because things get confusing. And we have to say, okay, so what units are actually coming to the fire? And we get them to repeat, communication to repeat what it is, who's actually coming, so we know that we have help. So we're gonna catch a hydrant on this one? Yep. We're gonna go offensive or defensive? Okay, we're gonna defensive. What line should we pull?
2.5.
Who said 2.5? Either, whichever, this is your scenario, whatever you wanna make. 2.5, okay. All right, so assignments. So at this point, let's say you have 2 crews on scene, you have 8 total people. What do you do with all those people? What do you tell them to do? What do they do? Anybody want to take a guess or have an opinion? Nothing, no wrong answer. Let's say there's a group of 3 people. What do you get, the first 3 people that get there, what do they do? Okay. Remember, you have to, somebody gotta get the hydrant though. Get somebody catch a hydrant. Let's say the first 3 people get the fire attack. We're gonna pull 1 inch 3/4 or 2? Go two. Okay, what about, there's 3 more people standing in the yard, what do they do?
You don't need safety because of fire.
What's that?
You don't need safety because of fire.
Yeah, somebody can be a safety. So how do y'all mark off stuff like that? Cones, mark off cones. And he said it over the radio, but it ain't gonna hurt to say it again. Very important to say it one more time, just so we, hey, be advised, on the alpha side of the structure, we have power lines down. Even something like all units avoid the alpha delta corner, which is where the power line from.
Anything that's worth the fire assignment, will contact the power company. Tag 100 man. Medic 3 on scene.
Commander Russ, one a high risk, just about 200 feet east of our location.
So hydrant's only 200 feet away, good thing.
You're clear over out. Commander, all units are unable to see a 360 with ripping basement and are expired in the basement.
What difference does that make? It changes everything. There's a basement, he said there's a basement, I think at this point he said walkout. What does he mean by walkout? That means just ground slopes down like this, and there's actually a door, a full-on walkout door on the back side of the structure. It changes everything, which means all of this burning, so if I ever see crews in there, you know, what's that floor made out of? It's made out of wood, it's gonna collapse, you're literally walking on top of the potential of having holes all the way through it, falling all the way to the basement. So does that change your mode? You already said defensive, but you still agree with that though? Defensive, okay, let's stay
Do
there.
not enter the building.
He said it again, do not enter building, all units, and if you ever have a problem with nobody answering, you understanding, go to each one. Get them to respond to you and say,
Ready for pull back.
you understand, we're not gonna enter the structure.
Rest one of the scene, there's actually hydro line that 3 will be handed out in prevention 3.
And if you have some aggressive people with you, you'll still kind of have to pull the reins back on people. They want to go in so bad. You gotta pull them back, pull them back.
Humane Fire Patrol, the gas company and I-20. All units are in a walkout basement on the C. Charlie side of the building.
Okay, so you're talking about the back side, so the ground slopes down.
We do have fire in the basement.
Tag 1 notify gas company and I-20.
Did anybody notice that power line? Million than us. Did anybody on that scene notice it? It seemed like to me. These guys walked around it, one guy kind of looked at it. But these guys kind of went this way, so, you know, again, as incident commander, making sure people see that and understand where it is, mark it, either you mark it or somebody mark it. You can see that they're kind of walking down the hill back there. That makes sense. How many bedrooms do you think it is?
Fire Patrol.
Let's not count the basement.
Rescue 51.
How many bedrooms?
Two, looks like
Probably
two.
The way it's shaped, it's probably 2. This is in Ohio, who knows what they live in Ohio.
You're responding, replacing edge of 51.
Rescue 51 responding, replacing engine 51.
How long before it's in this attic? It's already there, right? If it's not already.
Fire Patrol Chief 1
It's
responding.
already looking at too, so it's already there.
Chief 1 responding.
Command all units, 360 complete. Release full 1-story with a walkout basement to the rear. Engine 3 space entry to the rear and the basement area.
Alright, so engine 3 is making entry. We can't really see on that side what it looks like, but from our vantage point, which would be the incident commander, is that a good idea or a bad idea? What do you think? Okay, because this is the thing about a basement. If there's a basement underneath me, and it's burning underneath me, there's holes in the floor. And if I'm in the basement and it's in here, it's burning on top of it, so which one do you want? You wanna fall in, or you want something to fall on you? It's bad, both ways are bad, both end badly.
Rear going there, one. Fire control, is your
It's ready for now, and the bug not from the bottom. So it's probably,
It's a 50-year
some windows down there. You're sitting here looking at it, what do you tell this guy?
Don't do it.
Back up, hey. You don't hear it on the radio because you're so excited, go over, hey, back up.
But you want me?
Start guys, when you're ready.
Paramedic 2 set up the EMS sector in front of the building.
Here comes your water.
The bushes like
Fire Control Battalion 1, 920 is en route.
Okay, you got one more.
Engine 3, fire control.
What's the address?
252 Woods Avenue.
Exactly, 252 Woods Avenue.
Battalion 1, go ahead.
On the scene, I have a 2-story private dwelling. Fire showing on the second floor. Chief Jack White of Woods Command under a working fire. I'll be out for a 360.
Battalion 1 on the scene, fire on the second floor, burning a working fire.
Okay. So, can I go ahead and give you a spoiler alert? This video is 21 minutes and 49 seconds long. And it takes a long time to even move from this room to that room. So, think about that too. Yes, this is a newer, older building. But that type of construction holds up longer. Okay, the time, it's got a little more time. The newer construction is a good and bad thing. So it's got a lighter weight construction, but it's gonna collapse earlier. So this thing, it's amazing this thing holds together. So 252 Woods Avenue. It's a residential house, made of what? Wood. It's how many stories? It's old, all right? And we got a little bit of flame, and what color smoke? White smoke, all right? So what about our flame involvement? What percent are we looking at?
less than 25.
Less than 25 for sure, not very much at all.
Gotta move.
We gonna catch a hydrant on this one? Yes, catch a hydrant. Offensive or defensive?
Offensive.
Offensive. What attack line are you pulling? It's 3/4. All right, and then assignments. So what assignments are you making at this point? If you're right on scene and one crew, let's say 3 people show up, what do they do? What do you want them to do? Hydrant's one thing. What else? So, all right, so if you only have 3 people, one's catching the hydrant, one's pumping the truck, one's pulling the line, let's like see if I can see it. This is all right, so you only have, you got 3 people all doing something. Say the hydrant's a block away from here, the guys have to drag the line back, and then one guy's pumping the truck, and one guy's sitting there. What can that guy do from the yard?
Spray it or something?
He can knock it down from the window, absolutely. Absolutely, he can. And this'll buy time until we get maybe that other crew member up here with us, we can both go in, but it will buy time. He can definitely shoot it through that window and cool it down enough to buy time.
That's the time that they're on site.
So if I saw this house in downtown Dothan, the first thing I would think is it's apartments. That's pretty common in Dothan, is to take a house like this and split them into 4 apartments. So if, and I don't know how many situations like that y'all have in your community, but how do we identify that? If we look at a house like this, how can we tell from the outside that it's 4 apartments? 4 mailboxes, 4 meters, ABCD on the doors, you know, whatever. Big one, if you do that 360 and you see 4 meters, there's only one reason that will be there, is that, or you see 2 meters, there's only one reason that's there, it's just 2 apartments. So you gotta think about, when I think about that, I think about the construction, the remodel to make it like that. The adding of walls, the adding of roofs on top of roofs, and it kind of evolves into a lot.
3 seconds complete, go to the involved, firefight, play the 1-bedroom on the upstairs. Also, we have a hydrant right in front of the residence before.
Okay, so if we have this guy caught the hydrant, guy's pumping the truck, the guy catching the hydrant comes up and meets with this guy, they're making a decision to go in, or they want to go in, are you letting them go inside at this point?
Wait for somebody else to get there.
You know, wait, technically you're supposed to wait for a written team, a backup team. All right, when I walk in the front door, where should those stairs be? Should be right in front of you. It's gonna be near that front door somewhere. It's not gonna be hidden. So that, therein lies the other problem, is that when you have a structure like this, is you go in the front door stairs, that's a whole hose problem now. Is dragging the hose up the stairs, taking a left, you might have to move around stuff and get up there. This is another just from working in Dothan. Lady lives by herself. Maybe she's got a bunch of cats. You'll see a cat right here in a second. Cat will leave town right here. But this is in my mind. I'm thinking she's got a bunch of stuff in the house. All right, so therein lies another problem. She doesn't seem too upset about it. But again, if, this is kind of a long video, and it's gonna take a second for me to get there. But again, even if you wanna use this, take it with you, or take a picture of it on your phone or whatever, if you walk through that setup steps, it's kind of giving you the things that you need to do to assign out other tasks and other duties. All right, I'm sorry, I have another one. All right, so this is at night. So how does that change things in your mind? You can't really see the smokes as well, but what about vehicles? How does that
That could
change?
be occupied.
Probably occupied, you don't know. Important information you gather from those people in the front door.
Get back, bro, it's gas in there. Get back.
tells me it's been burning for a long time.
Yes.
Now, they were probably asleep, started in the attic, they never saw it, but it's a big house. We'll say this is a newer big house. And it's burning here, burning all the way over here. So all of this is involved. This is starting to burn. So it's burning for a long, long time. By the way, this house was probably built in the last 10, 15 years, and it is lightweight stuff as you can imagine. It's sticks of their burning, so think about that too. In the modern construction, the last one we showed literally burned for 20 minutes, and this, it doesn't actually collapse, but the time you have is not very much in a modern construction. What it's made out of, it's so light, small material.
Hey, they're in charge!
Okay, so think about it in your departments and your resources you have in equipment and people, apparatus and people. You arrive, because again, this is a paid department in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In your situation, in your environment, first arriving on scene, is this an offensive or defensive fire? Probably a defensive fire in your situation. So it's a newer construction home. I verified the address. We got a lot of flame involvement, and we're gonna be defensive, and then you go from there. Okay, we're defensive, and that means you're gonna assign these people to do these things, assign these groups. Everybody agrees with that, burning up, probably a defensive bid. Okay, so the next slide is something I had in my original lecture. I talked a lot about time. I preached that in recruit school a lot, time. How much does time matter? We have a system in recruit school where we have whistles. That one whistle means go outside to the bay. We have these bundles set up, and two means to put your gear on when we get out there. So that little bit of time matters, and it definitely matters in your communities, in the volunteer communities. Time does matter. So getting the truck, and I don't know how you respond if you wait till so many people arrive at the station or at the scene before you move the truck, but when you getting to the truck, getting on the scene, turnout drill, time matters. Knowing the territory, and it is a lot different in the volunteer community because you typically know, you grew up in that community and you know where everything is, and that's not really a question. Pulling and charging a hand line seems very simple, but how long does it take you to do it? How long does it take you to actually pull it off and charge it and have water ready to go in a fire? So when we did this drill, we timed things like this out there. And it took the fastest one, pulling the line, ready to go, mask up, 30 seconds. 30 seconds ready to go in the door. So time matters on that older structure that was there, that was just one room burning. Time matters. In that Fort Walton Beach rescue, time matters. It does. So little things is just putting on, just a masking up. We would have mask up drills were all we did. We had everything else on. We just masked up, hood, helmet, gloves, go in. How long does that take you to do that? So little things like that can improve time. All right. So that's all I have as far as my lecture. I just want to stress again that I'm not good to memorize things or to know everything about everything, but if you have some kind of reference and some kind of starting point, which is this, it can kind of build that structure, which is incident command system. Build it from the beginning. I'm in charge. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is who's helping us. And we kind of facilitate things